Have you ever wondered what actually happens inside your local justice system? Or maybe you've tried to look up a crucial legal document only to smack right into a frustrating, expensive paywall? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the investigator's playbook, and I'm going to show you exactly how to become your very own public records detective. We're talking about searching Jackson County, Oregon court records, and the best part, we're doing it for absolutely free. Yup, it's completely true. You literally do not need to hand over your credit card or deal with those annoying hidden paywalls just to find out what's happening in your local courts. Whether you're doing some heavy-duty legal research, digging into your family's genealogical history, or, just looking for personal reasons, the tools are sitting right there at your fingertips. The trick is just knowing exactly where to look and how to use them. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover decoding Jackson County records, a step-by-step search guide, navigating the top online platforms, overcoming common search challenges, privacy rules and legal boundaries, and finally, some next steps and tips. Let's get into it.
All right, starting off with Section 1, decoding Jackson County records.
What's really fascinating here is just how broad the legal definition actually is. Under Oregon law, a public record is basically any writing related to the conduct of the public's business. These documents, which range from initial complaints all the way to final judgments, are meticulously preserved. And why does that matter? Well, it gives citizens like you transparent access to the legal process. It ensures accountability, and it builds this amazing historical archive of exactly how the law is applied. Now, in Jackson County, the circuit court is the primary trial court. That means they handle a massive, really diverse variety of cases. We're talking everything from serious criminal prosecutions, felonies, misdemeanors, to civil actions like personal injury lawsuits. They also manage domestic relations, so things like divorce and child support, plus probate, guardianship, and even your everyday small claims or landlord-tenant disputes. It's essentially a vast, searchable repository of human experience. Moving right along to Section 2, our step-by-step search guide. Okay, this brings us to the absolute best part of today's explainer. Utilizing the state's digital indexing system to query cases online is going to cost you exactly $0. That's right, you can browse basic case information right from your couch without spending a single dime. So, how do we actually pull this off? It's pretty straightforward. First, you access the Oregon Judicial Department, or OJD, portal. And get this, you don't even need to create an account for this. It's completely anonymous access. Once you're in, you just select the Smart Search function. You'll enter your parameters, which is usually a case number or a party's name. Oh, quick pro tip for you. If you're using a name, you absolutely need the last name and at least a first initial. Once you hit search, you can freely review the case status, final dispositions, and the chronological docket events, which they call the Register of Actions. That takes us to Section 3, navigating top online platforms. So while the Jackson County Circuit Court uses that statewide OJD portal for the major civil and criminal matters, you actually have to look elsewhere for local violations. Municipal courts, the ones handling local traffic tickets, parking, and city ordinances, they maintain their own completely separate databases. For example, if you're trying to track down a speeding ticket issued in Ashland, you'd bypass the state system entirely and head directly over to the Ashland Municipal Court's specific search tool. Same goes for Medford or Eagle Point. Now, an absolutely crucial distinction you need to understand is the difference between the state-level systems. The free OJD system is fantastic, but it's basic. It gives you the index information, the who, the what, and the when, along with case status and anonymous access. But it does not give you scans of the actual documents. On the flip side, there's the paid OJCN network. That one provides full case documents and judgment dockets. But just a heads up, OJCN requires a paid subscription, and it's generally reserved for Oregon State Bar members, government users, and qualified businesses. Let's transition to Section 4, overcoming common search challenges. A really common hurdle for beginners is getting the search formatting right. Remember earlier when I said you need a last name and a first initial? Well, if you rely too heavily on search wildcards, you are going to get totally flooded with irrelevant results. Let's say you type in Robert S. with an asterisk. The system is literally going to pull up every Robert Smith, Stevens, Sanders, and Sullivan in the entire state. This isn't Google. It won't magically guess what you mean. You really have to be as specific as possible. Now, what if you actually need the physical documents from a case file? For that, you'll have to submit an official records request form to the court. But you gotta know what you're asking for. You can get regular copies, which are basically just standard photocopies or electronic images, Or you can request certified copies. These are legally sworn to be true copies by a court clerk. But here is a wild detail. A certified copy includes everything within the staple. If you remove that staple, the legal certification becomes entirely invalid. Seriously, no touching the staple. And while searching that online index is completely free, there is a catch if you want physical copies. If you submit a request for a regular copy to be printed at the courthouse, it'll cost you 25 cents per page. Certified copies, those cost even more, usually starting with a base fee plus that per page cost. Moving on to Section 5, Privacy Rules and Legal Boundaries. It's important to know that to protect vulnerable individuals and ensure fairness, Oregon law strictly restricts public access to certain highly sensitive files. We're talking about juvenile court records, adoption records, Violence Against Women Act cases, and psychological evaluations. It also covers dismissed charges, legally known as noli prosecute. If you request these, you are going to be denied, plain and simple, unless you are a specifically authorized party with a legal right to see them. And even within the fully public records, like, say, a standard small claims dispute, the court takes privacy incredibly seriously. Highly sensitive personal data, like social security numbers, bank account details, and sometimes even home addresses, are routinely redacted from public view. The entire goal here is transparency in the legal process, absolutely not exposing citizens to identity theft. All right, let's wrap things up with Section 6, Final Tips and Next Steps. When you're finally ready to pull those full files that you just couldn't view online, the process is pretty streamlined. First, you complete the online records request form for Jackson County. Next, you pay the calculated fees, like say a $3 flat fee for electronic document delivery. And then you just sit back and allow up to 5 business days for processing. Though, really complex requests might take just a little bit longer. I do want to throw out a quick word of caution about third-party aggregator websites. A quick web search will show you dozens of these sites promising instant background checks. And sure, they offer really broad, multi-county searches, but their data, it is not guaranteed to be accurate or updated. Worse, they often charge hidden access fees for data you literally could have found for free on the official OJD portal. Just save yourself the headache and go straight to the official source whenever possible. But speaking of the official source, even they issue a warning. As this quote from the Jackson County Municipal Court states, "The user of this system is hereby notified that any reliance on the data displayed on the screen is at your own risk and liability." There's almost always a delay, sometimes 24 hours or more, between an actual judicial action happening in the courtroom and that data being posted online. The digital portals are an amazing guide, but if you need absolutely verified, up-to-the-minute information, you've got to confirm it directly with the court. And that brings us to our final and honestly most crucial takeaway. Now that you have the playbook to freely search and locate these public records, what are you going to do with them? It's super important to remember that this explainer is strictly for informational purposes. It is not legal advice. Court documents are incredibly complex and absolutely packed with legal jargon. The smartest next step you can take is to consult a qualified attorney to truly understand your findings. But now that you have the tools, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What fascinating hidden histories are quietly sitting in the archives of your own local courthouse, just waiting for you to uncover them?